Hello, I'm Stephen Cook, Cook Saw Manufacturing here in July, shortly after the 4th of July. We just had a break and wanted to talk about a question that a customer sent to us just recently about sharpening his blades, but specifically about the gullet. As you buy blades, and if you've ever bought them from different manufacturers, you'll see there's different depths of gullets. And then so when you have a sharpener and then you try to reach that gullet, if it's deeper or shallower or different than what you've been sharpening, sometimes you have a problem reaching the depth of a gullet or clearing it out. And that becomes very worrisome to a lot of people. And I wanted to address that. That was the specific question is, hey, I can't reach the bottom of the gullet. First of all, I wanted to talk about what makes a blade cut. It's not the gullet per se that makes the blade cut. The purpose of the gullet is to get sawdust out. And we'll talk about that more in just a little bit. But what makes the blade cut is just a very little point, and you can't hardly see that, but I'm holding my fingers right at the very point, the top 1/16th, I would say, even less really, but the top 1/16th of an inch of the point of that tooth. And that being very sharp, super sharp, is critical, which is why we named our blade Super Sharp, is very critical to sawing. And when it's dull, just in that very top, that is what slows you down. That's why you need to sharpen in the first place. So my main aim as I'm sharpening a blade is to be sure that I'm touching a little bit on the top of the tooth there and the face. I don't want to dub it off, but I want to touch on it. We'll talk about sharpening in another video, but that's the critical point. The gullet, and even the gullet depth to some degree, is not that critical. We have a whole story why that came into play. It really comes from wide band industry, where they used to have the saying, our dad was a bandsaw filer, and we helped him some in wide bands, not the narrow bands here, but the wide 6, 8, 10-inch, 12-inch blades. And they had a saying that if you didn't grind the gullet or file the gullet every 4 hours, the blade would break. Well, long story short, and we like to tell that story, and I'll probably tell it in a different video, is that had more to do with having to take the blade off and sharpen it because it had gotten dull in that amount of time. And it is the dullness of the tooth that would cause a crack in the gullet. It is not grinding of that gullet. The purpose of the gullet is to grab sawdust as it makes a cut, bring it into the gullet and drag it out and drop it on the other side of the sawmill to get your sawdust out. That's really the only purpose of the gullet. And in fact, the grinding of the gullet, the only real purpose that would solve, and I'm not sure you would see a whole lot of difference in this, would be to square that up a little bit so it would carry sawdust a little more. But having a deeper gullet has an advantage that it can hold more sawdust. And sawdust is small, and we like, with our turbo tooth blade, we get a little bit larger grit, or a little bit larger piece of sawdust, if you want to say. Used to be like flour, but with our turbo bandsaw blades, you get a piece of grit more, and it can hold in there better. So the grinding of it doesn't serve any real purpose. It doesn't make the blade last longer. It doesn't keep it from cracking in the gullet. That's what they used to think. Sawdust is better and polishes a gullet better than a grind rock, which heats up the gullet. So you can see from that, and we have some articles about that. It's only about catching that sawdust and dragging out. So if you come in and you can't touch that gullet on your first grind or your second grind even, that's okay. Just follow down the face of the wheel and touch the back as you come out. Make sure your angles are correct, and really, again, that very tip point is all that's critical on those angles. That very tip point on your back angle and your face angle, that is what you're cutting with. The rest of it is about dragging the sawdust out. Keeping a nice deep gullet, we do like a deep gullet for pulling the sawdust out. And that's the purpose of even grinding it later. As you grind the top of the tooth, obviously you want to keep the gullet deeper too. But if it's a little deeper than what you can touch in the beginning, it's no big deal. It's fine. You just got the advantage of a deep gullet. So I hope that's helpful to you and maybe help you understand or get your wheels turning on that. Look us up on our website at cooksaw.com, and we're here to help you. Come buy our blades, give our Super Sharp blade. We were the inventor of Super Sharp, and give us a try, buy our blades, and we provide good service, and we want to help you out and help you make more money. So thank you for viewing.